Okay folks, so this is going to be your tutorial video on doing contour line drawing. So notice, with the last one it was blind contour line drawing, and this one is just contour line drawing. So blind being gone means now you can look at the paper while you're doing the drawing. But again, you should be looking at the thing you're trying to draw and the paper, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The other thing to consider that I forgot to put in the observational making associations video is you have to maintain viewing angle. So if I'm looking at my hand like this, even if I twist it a little bit, that's a completely different drawing. So make yourself comfortable, put your hand up on your elbow. Don't lay your hand out flat like you're looking at it like kind of moving away from you. That creates a foreshortening that's hard to draw and it distorts the drawing. So kind of keep your hand up, so that I'm looking straight on at it right here. But keep your hand up so you're looking pretty much straight on at it. And make sure you're not moving around. If you do move, make sure you can get yourself back to where you started from. So we're going to start this drawing, and with these, the same rules apply as they do with the contour line, except now you get to look at the paper and it does not have to be a continuous line. What you want to do though is to draw each little section, get it drawn up and then move your way through the drawing so that you're building it up. Like I said in that first video, it's like taking a box of Legos and taking it one piece at a time and stacking them to build the thing that you're trying to build. Anyway, so y'all bear with me. This one might take a few minutes. I'm not real sure. But what we want to do is we just want to get ourselves in a good, comfortable position. And I usually start with my thumb. And I'm going to try to draw lightly at first to lay this down. I'm going to draw a little darker with this just because, just so y'all can see it. I don't want to not have, so there's my thumbnail. And then from there, I'm going to come in with the tip, the fingertip. And I just want to kind of lightly lay it down. And a lot of times things look weird at first, until you get more of it laid down. So just kind of keep going at first. If you need to erase something, we can do that later. So I'm just trying to lay down the information, and then I'm going to say, okay, looking here, I can see this side of my palm kind of coming out right about halfway up this knuckle. So I'm making that association okay, here's my palm. It's coming off at a bit of an angle. Can y'all see what I'm doing? Yeah. And then here's the crease of the finger. I've messed something up here. Let's go back and work through that some more. That's all right. We'll just keep going. We'll come back and fix that later. So then I'm going to draw this first knuckle. Like that. And look, this is kind of rough right now, and that's okay. I'm going to come back as I go along here. I'm going to come back and I'm going to clean all this up. The first part of this drawing is just to lay down, just kind of get it laid out. We don't necessarily want to correct or erase or any of that stuff until we get a little further along. From there, and then I got a little bit of line there, and then I can see this section of the next finger coming up, and I'm going to look and say, okay, let's go ahead and put some of this information in here. Get that recorded. Now looking, this one's a little bit higher than this one. This knuckle compared to this one's just slightly higher, so I'm going to come in here. And I'm going to make sure And then this one's about halfway up the fingertip on my index finger, so I'm going to bring that and make that association again. I'm going to draw this whole section, and I can come down here and finish this bottom section. I need to get back into my, I'm not following my own instructions here as far as maintaining my viewing angle. All right, now we're coming off at a pretty extreme angle into this next finger. I got to draw my ring. And it's been a while since I've done this, so I'm a little rusty myself. And so like this section is lining up about right here, so I got that where I need it to be. Normally I would be drawing this quite a bit lighter. I'm drawing this darkly just so you all can see in the video a little bit more clearly. And then from there, let's come down here to do the pinky. Again, I'm paying attention to that negative space between the fingers, right? We want to make sure that that's accurate. So to make sure you're doing that. And look at your pinky, folks. I mean, it's all kinds of crooked and bent up, or at least mine is. Most people's are going to be. So just kind of be mindful of that. So like again, things are going to look weird, especially at first as you're doing it. But all of a sudden, it all kind of starts to come together. And before long, you should have the whole thing kind of laid down, okay? So then from there, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to start to work out the palm, kind of figure out where like the main lines are at first anyway, and then I can come in and start to kind of work that out. So I'm going to work all the way down to my wrist. And get the lines coming out for the bottom of the wrist. And that's pretty much it. You know, it's kind of rough right now. It's not perfect, but I wouldn't expect it to be at this point. What I want to do now is start to come in here and start to make adjustments so that things are where they're supposed to be. And you want to go back and clean up. I see, I forgot to do... Get those lines in there. So just to show you real quick the way I would clean up a line, I'm going to come in, I'm going to go ahead and do it bared down, and then I can come back with the eraser. Anytime you have to change something or fix something, make the change and then erase. One thing to consider too is like look at where your shadows are on your fingers. You might make those lines a bit heavier. You know, think about back to the beginning of the semester, like we talked about line variation. You know, where those lines need to be heavier, you might make them heavier. They might be dark, but they might not be as thick in other places. So kind of be thinking about that. And then we want to come in clean up the tips of the fingers here. I need to fiddle with the shape on that a little bit more, but so pretty quickly though, you can get all your heavier lines kind of laid in there. So we're gonna clean that finger up. Let's go ahead and do this one. So again, make your correction and then erase. Don't do it the other way around. You'll just end up doing the same thing over and over again, and you'll get frustrated. Okay, so you can see how I'm starting to refine that, and that's how this drawing started. And then you can see here where I got that line variation in there a little bit more. So just be aware of that as you go through this, and you got to take your time. You rough it in, get it all laid out and roughed in place, and then you can come back and start to refine it. Look to make sure everything's lining up the way it should, and work out any issues that you may have. So for this assignment, you're going to do one open palm contour line drawing. You're going to do one where you bend a couple fingers, or articulate your hand into some sort of pose to draw. And you're going to do one contour line drawing where you're holding an object. It could be a pencil. You might do one where you're like holding an apple. I do not want to see a drawing where you're holding your phone, just because it's a big rectangle. And if you're holding a big rectangle, I can't really see your hand, and that's kind of the point, is so that we can see something that requires you to kind of observe some actual detail. So again, go slow. I cannot stress that enough, that this requires patience and time. I know that is against most people's kind of way of doing things or wanting to do things, but for this is the way it has to be done. If you have any questions or need help, contact me and I'll be happy to help out. So good luck. See y'all.